This is Johnny Nelson, and you're watching Sporting Icons.
All right, everybody. Hope you're all doing fantastic. So I was watching an interview on IFL TV with Ben Shalom, and with the many different subjects that they were talking about, one of them was, at long last, British boxing promoters are starting to work with each other quite frequently now. We're starting to see it more and more. Fighters going on to each other's shows and whatever else, which is something that we've been asking for a long time, but we haven't really been getting it. We haven't. Of course, we have Eddie Hearn saying, yes, he's willing to work with Frank Warren. Frank Warren saying, yes, he's willing to work with Eddie Hearn. Again, when I say Frank Warren, I mean Queensbury. When I say Eddie Hearn, I mean Matchroom, just for clarity. So, but yet at the same time, they'll start digging at each other, trying to one-up on each other. With Eddie Hearn saying things like, well, I don't need to work with Queensbury. What for? They need me more than I need them. See, things like that, we don't want to hear. Now, anyway, so Ben Shalom was speaking in this interview on IFL TV. And one thing I noticed is that at no point did he take any kind of credit for it himself. Not one bit. Not one bit did he say, me. He didn't. What he was saying was, well, boxing fans need to see certain fights and they have to happen, and a broadcaster and a rival promoter should not stop that kind of thing happening. Promoters need to be working together. And had that been Eddie Hearn sat there or Frank Warren sat there, and one of the reporters went, well, we've noticed that you promoters are starting to work with each other now. Both Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren would have said pretty much the same thing. You can pretty much guarantee it of, well, I've always felt that we should be working with each other, but, you know, there's always like a bit of a pushback from the other ones, but I've always wanted to, and as boxing fans, you know, we want to see the best fights, and we should be working together and all that kind of stuff, and I've always wanted that. When in reality, we know that ain't true, because if that was true, they would have done it a long time ago, wouldn't they? But they didn't. In other words, they'd have been trying to get some pat on the back. At no point did Ben Shalom try and get a pat on the back. At no point did he try and big himself up. He didn't. But he should have done. Which is why I'm making this video. Because he should have done. It's no coincidence that since Ben Shalom and Boxer linked up with Sky Sports, promoters are starting to work with each other now. He's put them in a position to say, we can work together. And I know this has been happening because we're seeing it happen. But also, I met Ben Shalom in Newcastle. It was either their first or second show for a Boxer Sky Sports collaboration, like when they first got together. And I'm wearing like a Sporting Icons t-shirt or whatever it was. And Ben Shalom comes over and he goes, oh, you're Sporting Icons. You made a video saying how a promoter should be up front, in front of the cameras and doing the interviews, and I'm not, and all that kind of stuff, which is true. I did say that in the video. And he's saying, listen, it's not about me. It's not about the promoter. He didn't care about being famous. It's about the fighters. That's what it's about. And he's absolutely correct. Boxing fans want to hear the boxers speak. They're the subject. They're the talent, right? But anyway, he was saying other things to me like, he's in boxing because he wants to make the changes. As a boxing fan, he was sat there watching boxing, knowing that certain fights ain't going to happen because they're on rival networks. And that's no good for boxing. And that's one of the things that he said to me. He says, I'm telling you right now, we will, as in we, himself, Boxer, Sky Sports, will work with other promoters. He will make sure that everybody works with everybody. He said, it may take some time, but we will get there. I promise you, we will work with each other. You will see the fights that you want to see. And lo and behold, 18 months later, we're seeing it quite regularly. So what he said to me is exactly what's happening. Now, he could have just been blagging me back then, but clearly he wasn't. Listen, I've been blagged to by quite a few promoters. Eddie Hearn, Bob Arum. You've all seen the interviews and everything, okay? I've been blagged a few times, all right? But he didn't blag. He didn't lie. What he said is what he's doing. And that's fantastic. Because he said that he wants to make changes in boxing. There are certain things that ain't working as a boxing fan. Because first and foremost, he's a boxing fan, right? There are certain things that need changing. And again, he's been proving that, where he said that he's been working with Robert Smith of the British Box Board of Control. They're looking at new ways to make officiating better. If necessary, a VAR, a form of VAR. They're going to trial new things. They want to make things better. And he's doing that. So yes, he does deserve a lot of credit. Listen, he ain't going to give himself credit, so I'm going to give him the credit. He deserves the credit. Promoters are now working with each other. Now, hopefully, they get to a point where we're going to end up seeing stable versus stable. Boxer versus Matchroom. Matchroom versus Queensberry. Queensberry versus Boxer. Boxer versus Wasserman, and so on and so forth, right? Hopefully, we have, like, I don't know, 1 or 2 fight nights a year where they actually work together, stable versus stable. That would be fantastic. I've got a feeling we're probably a couple of years away from that happening, but hopefully that's something that they do. I'm sure Ben Shalom would love to do something like that. He loves tournament style. He loves the competition, right? And have you noticed that since Ben Shalom and Sky Sports have been working together, look at a lot of the interviews last year from Eddie Hearn. I've never seen Eddie Hearn getting ratty or petty in interviews before. He was doing it because he's been feeling the pressure that Sky Sports have been putting on him. Queensberry are having to up their game now. How long has it been since Frank Warren put on stadium shows? Well, he's put on a couple now. And that's fantastic. As a boxing fan, I want to see these promoters working together. So well done to Ben Shalom, well done to Frank Warren, well done to Eddie Hearn, well done to Calla Sauerland, and well done to all the other promoters actually working together. Mick Hennessy in that. Because again, when Ben Shalom says that he will be working with these other promoters, he's already proven that, hasn't he? He does work with the Sauerlands. He does work with Frank Warren. He does work with Mick Hennessy. He has brought over Alicia Baumgardner from Matchroom and what have you. He has brought over Echo Usyman from Queensberry onto one of his shows. Stephen Robinson, a boxer, Sky Sports fighter, has fought on a Wasserman show because they needed extra fighters on a Newcastle card. So many different examples. Josie Parker on Queensberry and all that kind of stuff. I want to see Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren sat at the same table. We've seen Ben Shalom and Frank Warren sat at the same table for the Josie Parker and Joe Joyce fight. Let's start seeing that more and more regularly. So Ben Shalom, if you're watching, keep on doing this. All right, keep on doing it. Keep on pushing them. Because the more you do it, both Frank and Eddie and everybody else can look and go, well, if they're doing it, I don't want to be seen as a bad guy. We're going to have to work together. And eventually, it'll just become normal. And that's what we want. I want to be making videos talking positively about boxing. We here in the UK, these promoters work together. It doesn't matter if one fighter's on one network and another fighter's on another promotional network. There's a reality the fight could happen because they work together. I want to be making them videos. I do. So well done. Drop your thoughts below. Click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you next video.